My name is Deborah Donovan, and I'm the principal of the Boston Higashi School in Randolph, Massachusetts. I come to this work both as a professional and also personally. I am the proud mother of two sons with autism. My oldest son is 36, and amazingly, my baby will be 30 in 2 weeks. So my older son is more self-sufficient, higher functioning. He has a job, he has a girlfriend, he has a life. I'm very, very proud of him. He's learned to integrate his early challenges in life with his own passion. My younger son is far more challenged. He's minimally verbal. He had tremendous challenges with aggression and learning, but he is a child of heart. He's a very sweet and joyful boy. Quite honestly, he lights up my life each and every day. So I came to Boston Higashi School after a long career in public education. I don't want to tell you how long. That would be giving too much away. But I had the opportunity to do a lot of different jobs in public education, from general education teacher, reading specialist, special education teacher, guidance counselor, special education administrator. And my last job in public school, I spent 25 years as a principal of a school with 600 children. We also were one of the first schools on the South Shore in Massachusetts, where I live, to begin to do inclusion. And we were selected by the state with 9 other schools across the state to talk about inclusion when that was sort of the newer concept, if you will. So I also had opportunity to serve as the president of the Massachusetts Principal Association, elementary school principals. So I'm telling you all this because I had the opportunity to really talk about autism and bring autism from the background, not talked about subject, to front and center, to the foreground. And it's amazing how curious people would become over the years. Initially, when I did a lot of teacher training, I would say, does anyone know about autism? And very few hands would be raised. Through the years, when I would ask the question in a different frame, I'd say, does anyone know someone with autism? And guess what? Everybody's hand was raised. So autism is more than a thing. It's more than a research topic. Autism is indeed a way of being. So my son Stephen entered Higashi School when he was 6 years old. And it was after, I was not the principal then, I was in public school. And I need not tell you the pressures that were on me. I was the inclusion principal here. I was allegedly the guru of inclusion. When it came to time for Stephen, he needed something different. He was not thriving, and truth be told, he was barely surviving. So I looked at all kinds of schools, and the one that really grabbed my heart was Boston Higashi School, because in fact, it was a school. There were pictures of kids all around. There was student work, artwork. I heard music. Kids were singing. And the staff was joyful. They liked it. They wanted to be there. It was a really active school. And then I just prayed to every god that I could think of that they would, in fact, accept my son. So they did. Stephen was 6 when he entered as a day student. And he was a pretty deregulated little boy. And it didn't take very long for him to really grow and really gain new skills. Quite honestly, his first day of school, he came in pull-ups. And when he was greeted by the Higashi staff, Higashi said, "Last day for pull-ups." And I thought, he'll never make the 45-minute ride from my house, but I said, all right, I'm giving this over. I'm going to do what they tell me to do. And you know what? That was the last day for pull-ups. So there's a little magic going on there. So roll forward. When Stephen got to be about, maybe about 12 or 13 years old, I knew that we were in this for the long haul, and that autism was something that was going to be part of his persona, and that he was going to require support throughout his life. And I also knew that he needed to learn more skills with independence, and he also needed to make friends and have a peer group. So one of the very hardest decisions that I made, my husband and I, was to consider residential school for Stephen. It was the hardest thing that I did, but truth be told, it was the best thing that he did. Because all my hopes and dreams for Stephen to have a peer group, to have a community, to be included, all came true, because inclusion is not geography. Inclusion is finding people that you relate to and that people relate to you. And that is exactly what happened at Boston Higashi School for Stephen. So roll forward a little bit, and my time in public education was coming to an end, and my next journey was to be teaching college and at the graduate level. I had been active in the school on the parent association, and I was approached by the board of directors and asked me, would I apply for the job? And I said, oh, I don't know that I could do that. So one thing led to another, and I agreed, and I said, all right, I'll come for 6 months. And then, I'm happy to help you. And if you think I have a skill set that you could use, I'll be delighted to share that. Well, 6 months was 11 years ago, and I'm still there. So again, let me tell you a little bit about the Boston Higashi School. I am biased, I'm going to say that up front, but it is a school like no other. People are not walking around with clickers or clipboards or anything like that. People we ascribe to a philosophy called daily life therapy, and it really comes from Japan. The Boston Higashi School had its genesis in Japan, and it's a very interesting story. It was started by a woman named Dr. Kayo Kitahara. Basically, she was a kindergarten teacher who had a child who fascinated her. You know the drill. He was a little guy. He had no social skills, he couldn't focus, he couldn't sit still, and his mother was absolutely beside herself. He didn't sleep at night, his activities of daily living skills were completely deregulated. So Dr. Kitahara decided to really sort of take him on, if you will, and she spent tremendous amount of time with him, not only during the school day, but also on the weekends and helping the family at night. And then you roll forward, she realized there were other youngsters like this little boy as well. And she began her school in Tokyo. It started with a kindergarten, then it included an elementary school, then a junior high school, and then a specialized high school. Today, that was about 55 years ago. Today, the Tokyo Higashi School has approximately 1,400 students. There are 5 different campuses, but it is an integrated school, and it's a day school. So it's very fascinating to watch, to see them practice daily life therapy. And I know that you're going to talk to some of my colleagues, so they're going to tell you specifically what daily life therapy entails. So I'll save that for them. You know, when you think about making choices for your child, you always think about that. You know, when to worry, when to wait, when to change course, when to try something different. Those are gut-wrenching and heart-searching, if you will, and soul-searching decisions that we make. But the standard that I've used both in my professional life and my personal life is very simple. Who thrives and who just survives? There isn't a parent on this earth who would say that I just want my child to survive. Every parent and good teachers want all children to thrive. And what we know is that it isn't a deficit kind of thing. It's just that children require different approaches. They may require different strategies as they navigate the ages and stages of childhood and young adulthood. Let me say this, not every child with autism belongs at a school like Boston Higashi School. I'm very proud to say that public education has in fact come a long way in terms of not only studying the what and the curriculum of what kids need to learn, but people have become a lot more expert in how children learn. And there are folks on the spectrum who can do very well in mainstream settings with some support, small support. But there are others where that is not the setting at all. As a matter of fact, the setting is spirit, it's spirit defeating, and no one is learning anything. And the child goes to school every day getting reinforced about all the things that they cannot do, all the things that they are not. And what you see is, we see behaviors there that take root and really are counterproductive to learning and counterproductive to a quality life. So I think good educators and parents know when that moment arrives, and that's when everybody puts their boots on and looks at other options. And I think I'll say this about all the autism moms and dads that I know. They do not what is best for them as parents, but what is best for their child. And sometimes those are in polar opposites, but there are no parents like parents of children with autism. They're advocates, and they don't give up. So when I chose Boston Higashi School for Stephen, first and foremost, I wanted a school. I wanted a school where learning occurred. I wanted Stephen to have a full curriculum. I wanted him to have art, to have music, to have physical education. And at Higashi, believe it or not, I wanted Stephen to have the opportunity to be part of productions, to be on a stage, to perform. I didn't care if he just carried a treasure box across the stage. I wanted him to be part of himself. Aside from himself, I wanted him to be part of a group, and I wanted him to learn very quickly that it isn't a one-to-one world, that the universe doesn't just come to you and work with you, and then that's it. I wanted an integrated, strength-based program. And that's basically the core, I think, of Boston Higashi School. When parents look at our school, I say, first and foremost, we are a school. The children in our school just happen to have autism. And people say to me, you know, Deb, you're an autism expert. No, I'm not. I know kids. I've spent my career working with kids, but I don't know autism. I'm learning and growing each and every day. And every single one of my kids at school and my own nuclear family, they're the teachers. You know, yes, my archetype is teacher. I've spent my life teaching, but the greatest lessons for me as a professional and as a person walking this earth have truly come from my sons.